What's up, AFT? How y'all doing? Yes, yes. I can hear a little alcohol in the air. It just feels like 8th period on the last day of school in here. Just working on that in your union contract so you don't gotta sneak it out of your desk. I am really honored to be here today. Today, I stand before you just 6 short years since I was last here at this conference. But this time, I know I came as a Cook County Commissioner, which half the room probably didn't know what that actually meant. But this time, I stand before you as the mayor of the greatest freaking city in the world, the city of Chicago. I love you too, and I know that there are some other cities in here you're in a close second. So the moment you elect a middle school teacher to the 5th floor, then you can be in competition with Chicago. But I'm really honored to be up here with AFT President Randy Weingarten. You know, it's something special when people call you the most dangerous person in the world. So you know she's doing something really right, because whenever someone is threatened by a woman, that tells you a whole lot about how they are wrong. And Randy has been a vital partner to me as we have built political power, not just in Chicago, but around the country. I also stand on the shoulders of great giants that have come before me. So with that, I do want to acknowledge, of course, the recent loss of someone who has been fighting for liberation, a Black woman who served the great people of Houston for nearly 30 years as their congresswoman, and the mother of my close friend and senior advisor, Jason Lee. One more time, you all, for the great Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, she lived and died fighting, like so many other Black women who have been the backbone of this movement. The generational struggle that we are all a part of. We are truly at a crossroads in this moment. And while we base our movement in faith, our enemies base theirs in fear. But aren't you glad that the just live by faith? Now, you all know who my father and who his father was, so as a son and grandson of pastors, just buckle up, we're gonna get there. The iniquitous formation of the extreme right is on full display. And while the right wing want a rematch of the Civil War, we are fighting to transform our country for the greater good of all. Now, some of you might ask, what is that transformation that we're fighting for, and what does it look like? Well, it looks like the center of power moving from the corporate elite to the working families of Chicago and cities across America. It looks like the Rainbow Coalition, a mosaic where every neighborhood, every nationality, every race, every gender, every sexuality, every faith, every community stands together united with a shared vision for great cities across America. It looks like the generational investments in communities. It looks like putting working people in the driver's seat. It looks like fully funded schools. I'm telling you what it looks like. It looks like every single student has the resources that they need to succeed. It looks like the schools in Black and brown communities are just as good as those who live in wealthier communities. But it also looks like every single teacher that is able to have a real supportive wage to raise their family, where every single teacher can retire with some dignity and serving our students and our communities for their lives, because it is a matter of life and death in this moment. It also looks like our neighborhood schools becoming real community hubs, our schools becoming the center of community where parents and students and community members can go from classes, professional development, city services to get the help that they need for job placement, housing services, and so much more. I'm trying to tell you what it looks like. But it also means ensuring that there are no cuts to our teachers and our classrooms, not just in the Chicago Public Schools, but in school districts across America. It also means rejecting the stark vision of austerity that some folks want cities to embrace. But I can say something emphatically. This will not happen under my watch. We will make sure that we fully invest in people. You know, the scriptures tell us that where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And my heart and our hearts are with the people of Chicago and the people across America. And that's why in Chicago, we put our treasure where our hearts are. And it looks like a $1.25 billion investment that we passed in April. $1.25 billion to invest in affordable housing and economic development for all Chicagoans. It also looks like paid time off, an ordinance which is the most expansive paid time policy in the entire country, guarantee that all workers will have 5 paid sick days and 5 paid personal days every single year. So, in Chicago, we thought that working families of Chicago deserve a day off. So I did what any good unionist would do. I gave them 10. You know what else it looks like, though? It looks like having a nominee for president like Kamala Harris. You know, this is personal, very personal. Some of you may know I'm raising 3 kids on the west side of Chicago. There's always one here, one West Sider, thank you. And he ready. I'm just telling you, if you jump off, I'm good. All I need is one. Raising a daughter, 2 sons, my youngest daughter, Braden. She just turned 10. In fact, she was born 10 years ago during the AFT convention, and I got home in 2 hours to see her born. And she has been having me run around this country ever since she was born. During the pandemic, things got a little tough. And right before the pandemic started to shift and we're preparing to send our kids back to school, beginning of the following school year, I was having a back and forth with my daughter. She was 6 years old at the time. I know, so there are black parents in here right now trying to understand how you having a back and forth with a little black girl. I know. I know. It's the new kind of black. So as we were going back and forth, she interrupted the conversation. And she said, "Daddy, you are triggering me." I know. That's too much for white parents. Even white parents are like, "You just went too far, little girl." I am off script, by the way. This is not in my notes. But in that moment, I thought about how powerful it was for my daughter, who understood my authority, felt confident and capable to challenge me when it didn't feel right. Her uncle, who she never met, my older brother, had untreated trauma and died addicted and unhoused. I believe that he would be alive today if he had the confidence and the language to say that it hurts. And so when I talk about Kamala Harris, a black woman, as our vice president, she launched and oversaw the first ever White House office on gun violence reduction, because she understands that our communities have a right to live in safety and not in fear. It looks like the work that she did by investing $285 million to help schools hire and train more than 14,000 mental health counselors, because we all have a right to get the help that we need to ensure that our students get the help that they need. This transformation means having Kamala Harris in the White House to ensure that a woman is in charge to take control of this jacked up situation in America that only a black woman knows how to solve. I'm talking about transformation. Finally having this sister in the White House gives me hope that not only does my daughter get to see a reflection of her being, she gets to see a reflection of her values. And that's why we need Kamala Harris to run this country. Because I know that she's going to continue the same struggle for liberation and transformation that black women that have led before her time. I'm talking about generations of black liberation through the lens of someone like Harriet Tubman, who led the abolitionist movement, creating spaces for Underground Railroad, serving as a leader during the Civil War. I'm talking about black liberation like Ida B. Wells, investigating the horrific acts of white supremacists, the type of terror that they caused throughout the South. I'm talking about black liberation through the lens of a woman like Ella Baker, Rosa Parks, Fannie Lou Hamer, Kathleen Cleaver, Angela Davis, my sister Stacey Davis Gates. So today, I couldn't be more excited that we have a black woman, Vice President Kamala Harris, who has stepped forward in these uncertain times to defeat Donald Trump, to defeat fascism, to move us forward in a new era. AFT, I need to hear you loud and clear. You can get with this, or you can get with that. We're gonna get with this, Kamala Harris, because this is where it's at. This is not just about what we won, this is about what we're gonna win. We're gonna win sustainable community schools across America. We're going to make sure that there are restorative justice workers in our schools across America. We're going to make sure that there's affordable homes where parents and teachers can live in the neighborhood where they send their children. Are you ready to win, AFT? No, I'm talking about deep down in your soul. Are you ready to finally send a black woman to the White House as president of these United States of America? Well then, God bless you and God bless America.